Laughed and said, man, if you knew Alicia back then, you'd never believe she'd settled down. Everybody laughed except me. I didn't really know what she meant. So I laughed it off.
Wait. His cat.
Welcome back, Motivation Nation. This your host, Air Gordon. Welcome to the new series. This series is Air Gordon Investigates. Now, in this series, we've got real stories from real people. And together, we're going to separate the facts from the feelings. We're also going to investigate red flags from regrets and emotions from reality. So, again, I'm Air Gordon, the lead investigator. Put your detective caps on. And let's get into this first case. Okay. First, I want to thank you for taking the time to read my story. I've been watching your channel for a while, and after everything that's happened, I honestly wanted to know if I'm wrong or if other people would feel the same way I do. Okay, we're going to let you know. My name is Marcus, and I'm 38 years old. Until a few months ago, I thought I had the kind of marriage people dreamed about. My wife and I have been married for 7 years. We have 2 beautiful children. We bought our first home together. We've taken family vacations. We've celebrated birthdays, anniversaries, promotions, and all the things married couples are supposed to do. If you asked any of our friends what kind of couple we were, they probably would have said we're one of the strongest marriages they knew. That's what makes this so difficult to explain. There wasn't another man. There wasn't another woman. Nobody cheated. Nobody stole money. There wasn't any abuse. There wasn't some huge betrayal during our marriage. Everything changed because of one conversation. It started at a birthday party. One of my wife's college friends was celebrating her birthday, and there were probably 20 or 30 people there. Everyone was laughing, telling old stories from college, remembering crazy nights they hadn't talked about in years. At first, I was laughing too. Then one of her friends looked at me and said something I'll never forget. She laughed and said, man, if you knew Alicia back then, you'd never believe she'd settled down. Everybody laughed except me. I didn't really know what she meant. So I laughed it off. And another friend jumped in. And another. And suddenly, they were talking about a version of my wife I'd never heard about. I won't repeat every detail because that's not really the point. The point is, I realized there was a huge part of her past that I knew absolutely nothing about. When we left the party, I couldn't stop thinking about it. The ride home was almost silent. I kept replaying those conversations in my head. Maybe they were exaggerating. Maybe they were joking. Maybe people tell stories that get bigger over time. I wanted to believe that. When we finally got home, I asked her about it. I wasn't yelling. I wasn't accusing her of anything. I simply asked, was any of what they said true? She looked at me for a long time before answering. Then she quietly said, most of it. I feel like the wind had been knocked out of me. I asked why she never told me. She said because it happened before we met. She said it wasn't relevant anymore. She said she wasn't that person today. She told me she'd been faithful our entire marriage, and I believe she has. That's the hardest part. I don't think she's ever cheated on me, not once. But something changed inside of me that night. Not because she did something during our marriage, but because I suddenly realized I didn't know as much about the person I married as I thought I did. For the next several weeks, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I'd be sitting at work, thinking about it, driving home, thinking about it, trying to watch TV, thinking about it. I'd wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning, and my mind would immediately go back to that conversation. Just pits in my stomach. Eventually, I started asking more questions. Questions I probably shouldn't have asked. Questions that honestly weren't really helping anything. The more answers I got, the worse I felt. She became frustrated with me. She kept saying the same thing. Marcus, None of this happened while I knew you. I chose you. I married you. I've been faithful. I cannot change my past. And logically, I knew she was right. She couldn't change it. She wasn't lying about cheating. She wasn't secretly seeing someone. Everything she told me about our marriage was true. But emotionally, I couldn't get past it. It completely changed the picture I built in my mind over the last 7 years. I started questioning why she's never told me. Was she afraid I'd leave? Did she think I would marry her? Did she think I wouldn't marry her? I'm sorry. Or did she honestly believe it wasn't important? I don't know. Maybe I never will. Eventually, we started sleeping in separate bedrooms. Not because we hated each other, but because every conversation turned into another argument. She wanted me to let it go. I wanted to understand why it had been hidden from me. We even went to marriage counseling. The counselor kept reminding me that people grow. People mature. People grow, they mature. That who someone was at 22 isn't necessarily who they are at 35. I understand every word she said. I really did. But understanding something and accepting it aren't always the same thing. One night, my wife looked at me with tears in her eyes and asked me one question. Are you really going to throw away 7 years over something that happened before I even knew you? I didn't answer right away because honestly, I didn't want a divorce. I still loved her. I still do. But every time I look at her, I found myself thinking about that conversation, thinking about everything I'd learned, thinking about everything I never knew. Finally, I looked at her and quietly said, I don't know how to become the man I was before that night. About 6 months later, I filed for divorce. My family thinks I'm making the biggest mistake of my life. Some of my friends say I'm insecure. Others say I have every right to leave if I can't get past it. My wife doesn't want the divorce. She says our marriage should be judged by how we've treated each other, not by choices she made before we ever met. Maybe she's right. Maybe I'm wrong. Or maybe this is one of those situations where there really isn't a right answer. Air Gordon, thank you for reading my story. I'm honestly curious what your audience thinks because I've gone back and forth with this decision 100 times. Did I overreact? Or would other people struggle the same way? Thank you again, Marcus. All right, detectives, it's your turn. Let me know what you guys think about that. Now, if you want Air Gordon's take, let me tell you what I think about it. And I need you guys to jump down in the comments and let me know what you guys think about this case. But I understand, I feel his pain. It could send shock waves through your stomach, learning about who your wife was in the past. But if she's not showing you any signs of that behavior now, and she's moved past that and she's grown, you guys have taken an oath before God. And if you have a strong belief in God and you know that that lady has passed and she hasn't shown you that and you have a family, I don't think you should allow your emotions to remove you from that situation because she's done absolutely nothing wrong to you. And a lot of times people do things in the past that they wish that they didn't do and that they weren't necessarily proud of. She didn't come to you sick. She wasn't sick. She didn't pass a sickness on to you. And for all intents and purposes, this is stuff that you didn't even know about until this party happened. And you've never run into any of her exes or anything like that, and you've never been disrespected. So I think that it's an emotional decision. I wouldn't necessarily take that position of a divorce. I think that is an overreach. And I think that if you have been happy with her these past 7 years, that you should focus on the good times and you should continue with your marriage with the woman that she has become, because we all grow and we all change. And if a person has truly changed, I don't think you should hold their past against them, because everyone has a past. people, everyone's done something that they may not be necessarily proud of, but if they've grown and learned from that and they've now become the person that you need them to be and you want them to be, there's no need to throw that away over things that happened before your time that you didn't experience and that you did not witness. Rejoice in the fact that you have a good woman who cares and loves about you and you have a loving family. There are people that are willing to give their life to find a mate that they can actually be compatible with. But that's Air Gordon's take. So, with that being said, get in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. Case closed. I'll see you guys on the next one. Out.